Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we delve into our plan for the episode, I want us to quickly do something for me. With that out of the way, let's proceed to creating the tag menus components. So if we come back to Figma, here is what the tag menu looks like, and this is the component we want to create. So at the end of the day, we are going to fetch our tags into here, and we can use that to filter the content we see. So if we click on travel, it's going to return travel related blog posts. But for now, we want to just focus on the UI and get this ready. So with that said, let's get back to our code and create this. So back in our code, we were able to complete the header the last time. So we are going to create a new component, and as usual, we are going to duplicate one of these and edit accordingly. Alright, so after making the adjustments, here is what we have, and you'll be wondering we don't have any tag input here. And the reason why I paused this, we want to have another semantically usable HTML tag. So remember in the header section, we made use of the header for semantics. The same thing for the tag because it's closely related to more like a navigation menu. So because of that, we are going to be using the nav tag here and the same thing here. So yeah, that's what I just thought I should share with us. And for now, I'm just going to put tag menu here. Then come back to our index page and import the tag. So again, I'm going to have tag menu, then component tag menu. Then I'm going to replace the header with the tag menu. So just to confirm this is working, I'll come back to my browser and check this out. And there we have it. Here's the tag menu. So now that we've established that, next we can focus on having the UI design itself. So just for the UI's sake, I'm going to list out these tags in an array such that we can just have our UI, and later on we can have that generated dynamically. So if I come back to my code and visit the tag menu, I can create an array for the tags. So I'll just do this. Alright, so I've listed out all the tags I want to work with, and next we can come inside here to design the layout. So within here, I'm going to have this assigned to a class called tag items. So if we go back to our UI, the first of the tags is actually our time and day. So we have the Sunday and the date. Then the other tags follow. So based on that, we are going to have the tag. And here we can specify the time and date. So I'll just go ahead and fledge out the structure for that. Alright, so here is what I've fledged out. So we have the day being Sunday and we have the date being this. So at the end of the day though, these are going to be generated automatically based on whatever the system presumes. But for now, we want to have this hard-coded just so that we have the UI in place. So now that we are done with that, we want to spread out the tags. And we can easily do that using tags.map. Then we have access to the tag itself, then the index. Then in here, we are returning the class tag. So we have div, then class name tag. Then we are returning the tag itself. Then finally, we want to have the key. And in this case, that will be I. Alright, so that's the structure we want. Let's go back to check if things came out the way we want it. Alright, so they are out. The final thing we want to have is the toggler here. So this is meant to toggle other tags. So in case we have many tags that we've not been able to replicate all of them here, then we can have the toggle here to show the remaining. So finally, I can have the toggler on the same level as the tag since they are all on the same line. So I can call this toggle. And within our toggle, we want to have an icon. And remember, we installed the React icons package. So I'll just go back to the website and locate the icon we want to use. So we can just go ahead here and search. So it's going to be menu. Okay, it doesn't look like menu is what we want. Let's look for dots. Okay, so here is what we want. This. So I'll copy this. Come back here and make this a tag. So now we have to import this. So we can try to make use of VS Code to try to import it, but sometimes it couldn't locate it. So we might have to go up ourselves to locate it. So import from React icons /hi. So hi is the one we are looking at, because if you look at this, it starts with hi. Then let's see if this is within here. So we can paste this here. And yeah, there we have it. And by the way, I have the prettier formatter set up, so I can just use Shift Command P to format my stuff. And that's why you see that everything is structured out now. I won't go into details of that. If you need information about how to do that, you can leave a comment in the description section. So now with all the components set, if we go back to our browser and refresh, we have everything we need. So the focus now is just to have the styling, okay? And that's where I would have to play around with what looks okay, and I'll just share with us at the end of the day. All right, guys, welcome back. So after playing around, here's what I came up with. So nav with 100%, tag items with this following information, and after everything, here is what it looks like. So this is looking like what we have. So if we come back to our Figma, yeah, we can compare and contrast and ensure that things is looking like the way we want it. So on this note, we are done with the tag menu, and we can proceed to the next component we need to create. So if we come back here and pull up here, we have the block card, which seems to be the next, not next in line, but the next thing that I think is common in terms of our UI here. So yeah, we have it. So yeah, this is what the block card looks like, just this whole thing. And one thing we can do is we can detach it, create a new frame here, and paste it. So that way we are focused on what we need to create. So again, we come back to our code, we come back to the components. So just like before, we can duplicate one of the components we have so far and edit accordingly. All right, so here is what it looks like after adjusting, and yeah, this is just the block card. So again, we can come back to our page, the index page, and have the block card here. So block. So we just replace this with the block card. And if we come back to our UI, we should be back to our clean slate. So just this. So for our block card, we want to have some specialty here. So far so good. We've not really talked about parameters for our components. And that's mainly due to the fact that all the components we've been creating so far are more or less parameters that are going to be obtained from within. So for instance, the search component is going to have its parameter handled within it. Same thing for the tag menu. So the tag menu is going to have its parameter within it. So we're going to fetch the tag menus within here and populate it. However, for the block card, it's just a card. So we want to have a list of block items that are going to be populated to the block card eventually. So the information itself is coming from somewhere else. So we need to give block card a way to be able to identify what it needs. And in some of my tutorials past, we've talked about interface already, and I don't think there will be any necessity to go deep into that again. So if you want to see those tutorials, I'll put a link in the description, and I'll put it somewhere here so that you can just check it out while you are less busy. So with that said, we are going to be having an interface for our block card. But before we define the interface, let's quickly identify what we would need in our interface. So if we come back to our design and focus on the block card squarely, so based on this, we are going to have the badge. So in this case, it's tech, and we are going to have the created arts. We are going to have the title of the blog. We are going to have the description, or rather, this in this case is the caption. Then we are going to have continue reading. Okay. So 5 items: the badge, the created arts, the title, the caption, and this. So this is not going to be a parameter. This is just going to be here. But for us to be able to generate the link, we will need the slug. So technically, we are going to create the blog interface, whereas the blog card can just take whatever it needs from it. So on that note, let's go back to our code to create our blog interface. So I'll do that within the blog card. So here I can have export interface. So yeah, I'll have it as iBlog. Okay, let's call it iBlog. So it's obvious that it's an interface. So for the interface, I'm just going to list out what we need and specify the type in front of it. So yeah, let me go over and do that. So here are the parameters for our iBlog. So we have the title as a string, the caption as a string, the cover as a string, the slug is as a string as well. However, the cover is not compulsory, so that's why it's an optional string, as you can see. So sometimes it comes in, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, just note that. Then we have the created at, then we have the content itself. So from what we can see here, we would say the content does not really exist in the blog card, but it exists in the blog, and we would leave it at that. So yeah, based on that, we can have the blog here as iBlog. So it means whenever we want to make use of the blog card, we need to specify this information. So now that that has been established, we can go ahead and flesh out the structure for our blog tag. So we are going to have the top section, we are going to have the middle section, and we are going to have the bottom section. So let's check again. So we have the top section, the middle section, then the bottom section. So yeah, just take note of that. So I can just call this top. And within our top, we have the badge. And this is how we are going to have our badge component. So there's nothing else to do about this, just a div with a badge class. And for now, okay, so one more information here is the tag. So if you remember, a blog has a relationship with the tag, so we can have that here as well. Also, another thing to note is that the tag itself is an object. It's not just a string. So a tag has the name inside it. It has other information. So what we can do is we can come back to the tag menu and have the tag interface. So export. And for our iTag, all we have here is the ID and the name. And we are good with that. So now we can come back to the blog card and specify the iTag here. So it should be I capital letter T. So this should be T. Okay. So come back here, iTag. Alright, so now we have that, and as you can see, we are also importing from other components, which is okay. We try to put related behaviors together. So a blog is closely related to the blog card, then the tag information is closely related to the tag menu. So that's just one thing I do. And sometimes you can just create a separate TS file where you can define your types. So it's possible. So the reason why I'm not considering that is we have a small project we are working on, so that won't be necessary. So now we've established this, and now we can come back here and say blog.tag.name. And defining your interface also aids IntelliSense, so you can easily target what you need. So we specify the tag information here, which is the badge. So the next is the created at. So here we can have dates, and this will be blog.created at. So we are done with the top section. The next is going to be the body section. And for our body section, we have the header and the paragraph. So here we can have an H3. And here we're going to have then we're going to have a paragraph. And here is going to be blog.caption. And at the end of the caption, I want to have triple dots because, yeah, it's saying we can have more information. Then finally, I want to have link to our slug. So here we're going to have link, then href. So we won't put anything there yet, but it's meant to be the information of our slug. Let me just put an empty string for now. Then within the link, I can have an a tag, which does not have href in this case. Then have continue reading. Okay, so looks like it fits in the structure we want. However, we are not going to have any information. If we come back to the page, we'll see that there is an error. So for this, let's just create a blog information. So I'll call this const tests blog of type iBlog. So me specifying a type here kind of let me know what I need to create. So equals to, and finally, once I fill in what I need here, I can come here and have this as spread out tests blog, and that should fit everything. So I'm spreading it out because if we come back to our blog card, and what we have here looks like this, blog equals to this. So technically this is props, and within props we are going to have our named parameters. So that's exactly what we've tried to achieve here. So instead of typing in the individual parameters one after the other, we just spread it out and it's going to create itself as an individual parameter. So now we can focus here and have title. And for title, we just used exactly what we have here. And with that provided, we are good. So if we come back to our UI, our interface, we should see the structure of our blog here. Okay, we're having an issue. Okay, invalid link. So this error is about the old behavior of link. So with the new behavior, if we come back to our tag, we don't need the A tag here. So we used to need it before, but this should be sufficient now. So if we come back to our browser, we should have this. So far so good. This is structurally okay. However, we need to have the UI the way we want it. So one thing we will try to do is we would ensure we don't constrain the width of this. So we don't have a maximum width or anything. That should be controlled by this structure. Okay, so that's something we should note. So with that done, let's come back to style this, and again I'm just going to play around the styling until I find what fits, and I'll share with us. Alright guys, so after playing around with the style, this is what I came up with, and this is what it looks like. However, like I said, we are not going to constrain the width of the caption. So I just did this just to see what it looks like. So if we come back to the style, this is what we have as the style. And like I said, we created a style for the badge, and that's all we need to do in regards to the badge component. So it's going to be controlled with this style. Then for the block card, this is what it looks like. We have the top, which is quite straightforward styling. Then we have the body, and that's all we need for the old blog. And in regards to the link, which is meant to be within the blog, the bottom section. So all I did was just remove the underline shown on the anchor tag by default. And with that, we get ourselves this. And we are done with the block card. However, I can go ahead and remove this maximum width. We can constrain the title though. I think having a maximum width of 400 is okay for the title, but for the description, I just think we should let it flow by itself. Okay, from the look of this, it looks like the dot came out of the caption itself. So we can probably come back to the block card and remove this, since we can specify that within the caption. So yeah, that's fine. Alright, so that's looking more better. So this is where we're going to stop in this episode, and to cross-check, let's see what components we have left. So we are done with the header, we've not done the footer, we are done with the block card, we've not done the modal. We won't do the modal until we start integrating, because it's going to be a functional component. The same thing with the drop down. We've not done the comment card, we've not done the special card, we are done with the search, we are done with the menu, and we are done with the badge. So what is left now that we can design at the moment is the comment card and the special card. And we're going to conclude with that in the next episode. So guys, if you enjoyed the episode so far, kindly leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you've not. On that note, I will see you in the next episode. Bye.